This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Monday, January the 10th. I'm in studio with the lockdown here in Ontario. Charity staying warm in her 3-season sunroom, of which winter is the missed season.
The one season it doesn't include, yes.
But we're hardy Canadians, so an Afghan and a space heater was made for days like this.
Well, and now that the sun's up too, it's quite balmy in here, actually. It's quite nice.
Nice. Tonight, though, in the Quinte region, down to minus 21, minus 28 with the wind chill. Warming stations are going to be open in Belleville and Quinte West. If you know somebody in need of that information, share it. Saving lives when it gets down to minus 28 degrees. Coming up on the podcast today, a list came out of 13 things that you should do if you live in Ontario to prove you live in Ontario. If you haven't done at least 8 of them, get the bucket list ready. But before we get to that, we had a little bit of fun on the heels of last week's discussion that most men, on average, think that on a scale of 1 to 10 of attractiveness, they fall slightly under 6. Comes this news that men actually spend more time looking in the mirror than women. And that shocked both of us this morning.
The guys who like to argue it, we take so long because we're the ones trying to perfect a look.
Right.
Or our appearance. Nay. It is the men that spend more time. Not by a lot, only by a few minutes, really. And it tends to be the younger ones. It's the younger guys who can't walk by a mirror without stopping and primping and positioning, I guess, and checking themselves out.
Yeah, I think back to when I was a wee young lad many years ago, and my dad would put Score in his hair. Did your dad ever use that? This is pre-hair gel stuff, right? So that was just a little bit of stuff in there. You comb it up, you walk away. And I don't think my dad looked in a mirror for the rest of the day. But now you got hair gels and you got moisturizers, and there's far more cosmetic stuff for men. Thanks to social media and dating sites, guys are far more concerned about the way they look.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure if you think back too, though, I think the other side of that, because it does play on your self-esteem, there is a confidence that comes. And women, I think, will agree, as you get older, that confidence builds. So when you're younger, the lack of self-esteem or maybe less confident, and that's why you're always checking yourself out too.
Yeah, because you've got far more guys to compete with. Once, she's yours or he's yours, you got the job.
So to speak.
Dating, the job interview is over. So let myself go. This is what you got from here on in. So that could be. Absolutely. But anyway, guys, but as I said during the show, I went to the bathroom at one point during the show, and I was just about to turn to look in the mirror, and I thought, why? Charity isn't here. Nobody sees me. So it's funny how it just becomes this reflex of checking yourself out in the mirror. And so it was funny that we talked about that this morning. And then here we are in lockdown. Last week as well, we talked about the Ontario tax credit. You could get up to $400 or $450 a person, $1,000 for a family if you travel in Ontario in 2022. And on the heels of that comes a story about 13 activities that every Ontarian should check off. And the list was pretty extensive.
Activities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had started on the list of things. The first thing I wrote down was skating on the Rideau Canal.
And that was the first thing on this list as well. I think, and it kind of goes hand in hand with another item on the list, I think, eating a beaver tail. Yes, you're an Ontarian, but I think as a Canadian, it should be a goal. It should be on your list to skate on the Rideau Canal. It is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm.
And then Winterlude. So 3 major things from the nation's capital is in there. Touring the House of Parliament was not on that list, though.
But you could add it easily enough. You're there, you're skating the canal, you're taking in Winterlude and enjoying a beaver tail. Head on up to the Capitol and tour our Parliament buildings as well. But no, it was not on the list. It kind of shifts more south and heads more around Toronto, because there were some items there on the list, like standing on the CN Tower's glass floor. Not the easiest thing to do, but yes, I have done that as well. Also in Toronto, taking a ferry to the Toronto Islands. We did that with the kids a few years ago. We went to Center Island, and that is pretty cool. A different perspective of Toronto. Skiing at Blue Mountain, just north of Toronto, also on the list. Taking a boat ride in Niagara Falls, the Maid of the Mist. Of course, you have to to do that at some point. I immediately thought of this though. See a show at Stratford Festival. I have not done that.
Oh.
But you live there, so I'm assuming you did.
Yeah, I've seen enough for both of us, and I loved every single one of them. And when we started going, when we lived there, I was looking forward to it, but I had no idea how much I was really going to enjoy it until I did it, and then I'm hooked. So I can't wait until all of this is done and Stratford and places like that can get back to full capacity.
Absolutely. And according to this, you're not a true Ontarian unless you get down there and see a show at Stratford Festival. Other items on the list, roller coaster at Canada's Wonderland, of course, spending a day at Wasaga Beach, sipping wine in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Have done that over in the county, but haven't done that at Niagara-on-the-Lake. So we'll have to do that. And then lastly, hiking along a Bruce Trail, also on the list.
Seeing the red leaves in the fall in Muskoka, so Ontario.
Absolutely. Also very much in Ontario, an iconic activity to do to make yourself an Ontarian.
I was thinking in my head too, if we made our own Quinte region list of what it means to live in the Quinte region.
Oh.
So 10 things would be, maple syrup festivals in the early spring, wine tours in Prince Edward County, probably garage sailing up around Highway 7, blueberry festivals near Northbrook, right? All of these things that we do around here that we always invite everybody in Ontario to join us would be so iconic. So that's a great list. So if you can save some money, get some tax credits once all of this opens up in the spring, that'll give you some great ideas on things to plan in 2022. What's going on for you today?
Well, the kids continue their online schooling. So it's we're into day 3.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say as smooth as day 1. I think it's starting to settle in a bit for them, but they're doing okay.
I sent you on the weekend pictures of my finished jigsaw puzzle. So here's something Charity and I are doing. We once again had done that puzzle challenge in the fall, and I said jigsaw puzzles for me are like a winter event. So I've got my table set up. A friend of ours dropped off a jigsaw puzzle of 9 colorful guitars, which you would have seen. Sent her the picture of my being finished, which prompted her to send back, she just finished one with puppies.
Aww.
I know, right? So I'm going to blow through a 500-piece puzzle here in about 5 days, and then I'm going to put that one together. How's your puzzle doing?
It's coming. It's funny. So I guess about the middle of December, I started my first 1,000-piece puzzle, and I'm on my 3rd one now.
Good.
So I should have it done, I'm hoping, by tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that's how we're going to stay busy on that. Coming up on the show tomorrow, Jimmy's going to have a Take-Home Tuesday. New movies out, and after yesterday's Golden Globes, it looks like they're out of touch because they loved everything about West Side Story, and apparently they're the only people on the planet.
Yeah.
And then with the Pulse, Jimmy was talking this morning about the very unfortunate, untimely death of Full House star Bob Saget.
Very sad and shocking yesterday, I will say.
And on Twitter, somebody had responded that they literally had just seen his show Friday night in Orlando, which was why he was there. He was working.
It's almost unbelievable.
He was a funny guy. He wasn't Danny Tanner on his stand-up routine, which shocked a lot of people.
The complete opposite.
Yeah. But thanks to things like...
As far as you can get away from Danny Tanner, that's what he was.
Yeah, and thanks to great things like YouTube, we can at least enjoy some of the late Bob Saget. Back at it tomorrow morning. It's a Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and right here off of our social media sites. As always, you can text us if you've got stuff you'd like to ask us for our AMA, Ask Me Anything, or any comments. It's 613-962-0955. Get your birthdays in. Contest line for that when we have our backwards song on a Texting Tuesday tomorrow, and much more. Stay warm, as I mentioned, minus 21 tonight in the Quinte region of Ontario. It will feel like minus 28 with the wind chill. We'll warm up together tomorrow morning here on 95.5 Hits FM. Have a great Monday.